Hey everybody, how's it going? I'm your host Adrian, coming to you almost live from lovely Petaluma, California, here in Studio MC2 at QuickSurf Internet Studios. Linux News Log is a proud member of the Tech Podcast Network. If it's tech, it's here. Do feel free to head on over to techpodcast.com. Check out all the other technology-related shows over there. I'd like to encourage everybody to subscribe to the show if you have not already done so. If you're a YouTube viewer, do feel free to subscribe to the show. If you are watching this on my website or already a subscriber, thank you for finding me. If you haven't already subscribed, please feel free to do so. Help support the show. And with that, let's go ahead and get into the stories for this episode. Over at phys.org, there's a story. Twitter joins the Linux Foundation. Angry developers unimpressed. I think this is just par for the course when it comes to relatively large companies joining the Linux Foundation. I'm actually surprised Twitter hasn't done it sooner. The article here points out that the Twitter will join the Linux Foundation as a silver tier member. What this means is they are taking a membership role alongside corporate leaders such as Fujitsu, Hitachi, Hewlett-Packard, IBM, Intel, NEC, Novell, Oracle, Samsung, and a lot of other well-known businesses. So, the way I viewed it was just a matter of time. They do use Linux pretty heavily in their back end, and so it's just one of those things where it's, obviously there are a lot of developers that are like, whoa, they're all up in arms over it. And it's like, well, this isn't really any different than any other large company joining the Linux Foundation to help, be part of what steers and guides Linux. So I don't view it as a big deal. From IT World, Raise a Glass to Linux is the title of the story that I found here. Linux has turned 21 over this past weekend. I tried recording this on Sunday night, but I had a lot of technical issues, so I'm recording this on Monday night, the 27th. But pretty neat. It's been around for a long time, and I expect that it'll be around for another 21 years at least. So we'll see how it goes. From ZDNet, there's a deadline looming for a Linux security challenge in the UK. It's the second one. Hackers are being invited to take part in a Linux security challenge next week that is sponsored by the UK government and Sophos. The government has been running a cybersecurity challenge scheme since 2010. It's an attempt to draw more young people into this computer security business, which outside of script kiddies, this is definitely something that we could use, bring an influx of new young minds that may come up with even better ways to protect us, which is always a good thing. The first Linux-focused challenge took place last year, and registrations for this next one, beginning on August 27th, will close at noon on Wednesday. So if you're watching this on Wednesday, go for it. It's Monday now. You should be getting this Tuesday or Wednesday. So if you want to go, you got to hurry up. From ZDNet, minor improvements are coming in the Ubuntu Linux update release. This is from Stephen J. Von Nichols. I always love reading his stories. This is in their Linux and open source blog. Ubuntu 12.04 Linux isn't just a very popular end-user Linux. It's also Canonical's long-term support version. That means besides Linux distribution's usual constant stream of improvements, it gets updates for business users, and the first one is just about here. So check this out if you are an Ubuntu user and you're on or waiting for, I should say, 12.04, definitely go ping them, look at it. By the time this comes out, it should already be available because this story was written August 23rd, almost a week ago. So definitely check it out. From Tech News World, Making Linux Work is a story I found here. Few PCs are sold with Linux pre-installed. That means most people who want a Linux machine will have to install the OS themselves. Doing this can be a money saver since the minimum specs Linux needs can often be found in relatively cheap components, but it can also be problematic when it comes to compatibility issues with the dreaded D word, which is drivers. Now, this story I liked quite a bit because it's pretty in-depth and a fairly long story. It goes into a lot of the things that may, a new user, it's really geared towards newer users. A lot of this is stuff that, people have been around Linux for a long time, already know how to get around, but this is very good information to have for one of the newer Linux users, or if you checked Linux out for a while, a long time ago, and you want to revisit, this is a kind of a nice little primer to get you up and running. Some tips and tricks that'll help you, get up and running without too many issues. So definitely check it out. For the seasoned Linux users out there, it probably has a lot of stuff that you already know, but for the newer users out there, definitely something worth looking at. From Ars Technica, there's a company called CodeThink, and they're launching this Linux-based ARM server platform, I guess you can call it. Each of these base rock nodes is what they're calling them, have 8 quad-core CPUs inside each of these nodes. CodeThink is a Linux consulting company headquartered in the UK. They have launched an ARM-based server product called Base Rock Slab. Each individual node includes 8 quad-core ARM-based processors. 2 nodes can fit in a single 1U slot for a total of 64 cores per rack unit. This is a lot of processing power. Now, each of these cores runs at 1.33 gigahertz and has 2 gigs of RAM. You can fit up to 76 nodes in a full-size rack, which is 2,432 cores without breaking a sweat. Pretty awesome. You can do some serious computing damage with this thing for sure. By all means, check it out if you're looking for lots of processing power that goes into one rack and doesn't have a lot of constraints in terms of heating and electrical needs or cooling and electrical needs, then check this out by all means. And it's Linux based, even better. From PC World, Oracle broadens support for open source R analytics. This is pretty awesome. Oracle is expanding its support for R, which is the open source language for statistical analysis. The new features include R ports for Solaris and AIX, adding to existing support for Linux and Windows environments. They've also extended R to support its ×10 in-memory database. They'll deliver this as an open source distribution of R that can work with SunPerf, MKL, and ACML math libraries, which also are provided by Oracle, Intel, and AMD respectively. And this will allow R to run extremely fast on all compatible hardware. So pretty interesting. If you're an R user, this is definitely something to check out. That'll do it for this edition of Linux News Log. As always, please subscribe to the show if you have not already done so. If you have, thank you so much. And you can visit us online at linux.quicksurf.com, or actually quicksurf.com. And if you want to find any of the stories that we've talked about, everything is linked up in the show notes, which you can find on the website there. And you can subscribe to the show or get in touch with me, linux@quicksurf.com. And I've got a whole bunch of links of other ways to follow me online. And with that, I'll see all of you on the next episode. See you then. Bye.